I need help. Your association and alliances denying me the right to medical care. You're denying me the right to figure out what they just did to me. Denying me the right to figure out why Charlotte has got me in a biker problem with 500 guys beating the shit out of me. So that was the vengeance. Because of my spiritual connection to somebody, they've decided that I am very ugly and I've got to have the bash over it and be poisoned. You can see in Australia, all of my art was my soul is the sunshine. I've done an art piece over it, and I did all this sunshine paper maches all over the wall, and then I've done a massive art piece of my heart being puppeted by the corporations and the church, and a pig wearing wings and all the blood around the roses. I made this artwork intuitively. I didn't even know the full story, and now I kind of do. I knew there was a church, and I knew that there was a police woman following me, that I was a narcissist. So why out of their narcissism have I been gang raped 500 times, and it's buried in Australia, and you've made an alliance in Australia and New Zealand, and they're selling my citizenship because they said it's for Kiki and these other Asians, but they're actually taking the perks of my whole life. Like, they've stolen all of my friendships, all of my rights to get an education, all of my stomach, everything. So I have to get asylum. I can't stay here, but he's trying to keep me as cheap quality. And I'm saying, what about historically? I was like really onto it in Australia, and they've gang raped me 500 times, and I've got a website about legally imprisoning me, and now they are, and they've got these alliances to not allow me to have the social networks or have social, like, proper social work to really tackle this human rights abuses. They don't, like, India is actually banning me having human rights, and that's what I want to protest about, because it shouldn't be a bunch of these women in the same positions of work that I've been doing. Like, he shouldn't have killed me on flotilla and taken over the humanity and all the rights by tragically putting me in a toilet and opening me as meat flaps all over Pornhub. And the thing is there's a real text message in my past from Te Kianga Tiaki ladies that I had a job on deep sea fishing school, and let's go get coffee over it and have some lunch and celebrate. And do you know what they did? They sent that place a whole lot of mental files, and sent them files that sent them mental files, and tried to tell them I'm very old, and he stopped me getting a job. So she wanted me on the land, and all she's done is rape me, and nobody's accountable. Project Respect aren't accountable. I said I'm being trafficked, and the gangsters are now taking over the land with a book making out I'm rude and disrespectful and I'm innocent. And I'm asking, why should the mobs hold all the food sources to have anybody connect to me at all, when that's what my life was, and all I want to do is go to work? But the greed of those women of Poppy and Kiki and Charlotte and Nadia are banning me. And it's like, I was busy in Australia. Like, why would I be doing all that art, like, and all these, selling all these things on Temu to get, I wanted to get on Mercy ships over there. It was 2 places I've tried to get on ships, and there's endless amount of jobs I was applying for, but the motorcycle gangs have got a massive file and follow me around in a book that I'm a root bag. So they're barricading me off all the land. They've GPSed me. They've confined me to a house where they leave me to be gang raped on all these, all these chats, and then all the chats from France and John's group are just making me outcast. So I got raped in Australia, and there's a book somebody sent me. It was Harvey Weinstein and Lauren. My cleaner is Harvey Weinstein. Is that Ruben or is that John? And or is that Obama? And then they just put me in a toilet and they've assaulted my vagina. You know, I woke up and it was all like mutilated, and I went to the hospital. They gave me antifungal stuff and all this antibacterial stuff. because I said something's wrong, and I said, and I smell like ammonia, my kidneys, and they said, oh, you're probably just dehydrated. And then I had immunity issues. They said I've got a thyroid problem, I've got pregnancy hormones, I've got maybe traces of chemicals, and I've just had my energy wiped out since then. But every day in Australia, I was really up every day, like la la la, and cooking and doing art, and they've stopped me having a family. Like he went to my mum and said, it says somebody sent a whole lot of stuff on my phone, I think probably 3 years ago, and I didn't click, but it said that the men had stolen me and ruined my stomach for the ship. For that, it would have been Indian ship, like destroying my health so that they can run a nutritional business, and nobody's investigating them. So all these crimes I've been through, and nobody investigates. And she's stolen my sunshine. That's to do with that was my soul, and I just wrote a book about light work. So they're trademarking my soul and my career of doing artwork and, cooking. I was doing that in Australia. Then they've killed me in Auckland that I'm pee in a potty and unfairly dismissed me. Or well, I got knocked out, and they were creating all this hatred in my room that I was a dole bludger by that junior guy. And so I wasn't even a dole bludger. I was actually, somebody injected me, and I was chemically knocked out like for about three weeks, I think. Like I was not with it at all. I was really asleep on the floor quite a lot. I realised later on that they'd come in and stolen my bank card and my bank details, and the kids kept coming to my room and giving me things, and then saying that there's a group of men. He pointed him out. He was one of the security guards. I don't know his name. It was the one I didn't get along with. There was a whole lot of security guards that were on. She goes, they're on an app bullying you that you're the most ugliest woman in the world. And she said the men are giving out all these like free cards. And then I went all through Glen Innes. All the shops said they've hacked your stuff. They're calling you the most ugliest woman in the world, and they really hate you. And they've erased the videos of these men on my phone, and all the supermarkets around that area and all the other stores were laughing and saying they're just laughing that you're the most hottest girl. And my face had just been ruined, and they'd destroyed my health, and I think I got diabetes. And so I've got to get back up and just try and start running again, but it's hard. I can't even focus. My brain's in a fog from all this healthcare, and they've been gang raping me in Australia, and those guys took over the Conservative in Christchurch. So Trump's taken over my whole life and had me gang raped and put me in a case of all this like pain and misery because him and Charlotte. And it's all because of jealousy of wanting a child, and they don't want this to happen, and making sure I don't have a child or something. And then my vagina's been completely ripped open and nobody's investigated. I went to the hospital about it. I don't know why all of a sudden in 3 years they've just been given free rein to have all this power and erase history and destroy my family and keep coming and punishing me and kicking me out of homes. Like they've injected my hand with GPSs to prostitute me and and microwave me or something, because everywhere I went all over Manukau, people were like pulling over, like, do you want to get in the car? And it's like, no. And they're like, oh, what are you doing out at this late night? So I'm getting something to eat, or I'm going to get a drink or whatever. Like, what are you doing? And it's like, oh, well, if you want to like come over, you can. And it's like, no, that's cool. Like, I don't even know you. Oh, yeah, but like, you look like you're alone and you should actually just come in the car with me. And it's like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm just going to go home with my food and my drink and be alone and be miserable because I don't feel happy after all that rape. And I've got all my ex-friends in Christchurch harassing me wherever I go, saying I'm trash quality, and they're acting like they're all like real major influencers, 21 of them. and not giving me any democracy. They just took over my whole life. So in a sense, I was really vulnerable. So in Australia, I'm doing all this art and I've got some of the pictures, but I did way more. I did some really innovative ideas of like the frames on all of my artwork, and I think those music girls are like favoring Kiki and Nadia and Charlotte, and are like, nah, you're not going to get to do it. You're ugly, and just bullying me out of, and the Kings, they just bullied me out of doing what I needed to do, and he's holding me hostage as low class and mentally ill, and I'm not mentally ill at all. I'm just a rape victim and very vulnerable, and he's just bullying me. Like, out of every town, these Kings have bullied me out of every town, like Beat It, and the EA, is it the EA? I don't know what the EA stands for. I'm going to look it up. They're always like hacking my stuff and all the Wi-Fi, saying, fuck off, like, beat it, like, we don't want you here, fuck off, dick, look. And yeah, and I think five of them, is it five of them? Annie, she went over there and like those gangsters and got my mum to throw out all these photos of me and spit at me or something. They said, and like somebody actually, I think the kids left me a book saying there's a big man and they said nobody will bow down to him. Because I guess I've got a childlike curiosity, but I'm not a child. Like, I'm a mature woman. I've taken care of children over my life. I'll take a lie detector test over it. I would never ever fiddle with children, and I don't like. Um, I've always nannied children. I think I've nannied about five different families. So I can go under a lie detector test. I didn't do anything gross to these kids. I wouldn't ever do anything gross to kids. There was just those two that you've got famous online harassing me. They are actually a little bit odd. Out of all the children that I like looked after, they're really aloof type children. Like really, like they didn't play. Like they don't come out of their shells. Like they're not really like they act way too mature, way too old for their age. Like they're not having any fun type thing. Like most kids I looked after were like really fun, really into having fun. Um, so that's what I was like. I just was always about the fun side of life and happiness, but I was always doing my duty. So that's how I balanced life out, all the drudgery. I just went and made sure my life had a lot of fun in it and a lot of joyful moments so that I could keep balance of like how depressing, situations are. Like, because, I wanted to be a photographer and I was inspiring all these people, but at the start you don't have any money. So I had to do like crappy jobs. Like, I was doing cleaning, I was doing like aged care, and they have stopped all my dreams because also, again, these churches are saying that these girls get to go before me. The cult of Lamb has said that is that the Church of England said that they get to go before me. So everything that I'm great at, they've destroyed it, and I think they got very scared of me writing a book about my relationship with Reuben because they must have changed his life into somebody else, and they've made this really strange reality that he was some superstar and I was his weird, crazy, obsessed ex, I think, something like this. And I can't get a word in, like I've been completely silenced over it. And I was just writing a book about it, but the whole book wasn't about him. It was actually about my life because I bumped into all these people in Geraldine that were making all this creative stuff. And I love homemade stuff. Like, that's my signature. And they've stolen that. They're making all these different groups trying to outdo me at everything homemade. Like, they flood every niche market that I'm doing just to be assholes to me and to not let me have control over my own finances. And you have to ask, why are they trying to control me like this when really somebody getting raped 50 times is a huge emergency, and I should have had forensic testing. And all over Australia and New Zealand, both social services were banned helping me, and they weren't even attached to like the public service, like hospitals and things like this. It was like they were independently run charities like Project Respect and Zoe, and also Battered Women's Trust I went to, and Shakti in Christchurch. Nobody intervened, and because of the greed of China and India, I was not allowed these social services. They went and told them to not associate with me, and they've built up this massive wall of the blue blacklist, the police blacklist, like, because I was sitting in Aviva, and the reception was just laughing at me after I'd been abused and saying, "Oh, just write on this wall, like we'll write on this wall about you at the end for being a smartass to us." And it's like, about what? And then they're just like, they just kind of ignore me and like were laughing and were like saying they're going to throw me into the blue rubbish bin. And then it's like you find out later all your friends in Christchurch are like bullying you on all this kind of theatrical bullying. Like I've become this massive kind of cult like joke. Like that my life turned to shit after I leave Ruben, and he's actually the really nice guy and I was the bad guy. And it's like I was never the evil one. Like, that's a load of crap. Like, they keep trying to swap my life with all these different people and do these weird military experiments on my life. Like, the other one was in Auckland where the girls were saying I got put in some dark internet room and they were just swapping out, like, putting us in some room, and they were bullying me that I was too ugly for love. And some of the guys in the Mount Eden, down in Mount Eden were telling me, oh, I wouldn't worry about it because love is actually more than just skin deep. It's the person. And he goes, and you just seem like a nice girl. And I said, why are they doing that to me? And then to find out they'd raped me and put me in a toilet. So I went overseas because of persecution, and they've just gone wherever I go, making sure that I'm not allowed to be part of any society because they're like blacklisting me or something, and I don't even deserve it. So I think it's the mob. They've got all these books banning me from having social inclusion, and the hypocrisy is go and be like really busy. But I've just, you cannot, if you've been bullied for 7 years that you're a fucking dog face, and the only thing that kept me confident was my work, and then they're going on mass smear campaigns about my work and hates it, aggression and violence in the public and all this kind of stuff. How are you? I mean, the hypocrisy is that I should feel really, really confident, and it's like, you can't after that. I want to go overseas and travel the world, and they're trying to stop all of it with all this law. Like, I'm just kind of like, well, you've killed my life here. You've stopped me having a future here. Why keep me without a future all over the world? That's really sadistic. So I'm just saying I've been an innocent victim in all of this. I was sitting at home making artwork for my sister and for all of the nieces because I was stuck at home. And I just was campaigning against gender violence and not being allowed to go to work. So they've just decided to destroy my life. Like, they had 50 men rape me as a Halloween face and rubbish, like meat, and I didn't even want to. Like, they must have, apparently the mum was doing it, putting me all these positions, Ruth, and she's still telling me I've got to respect her, and it's like, well, but you're a rapist. Like, you've ruined my life in front just because you wanted to have all the popularity of my friends. So, and then you find out the Thailand girl had you raped in this city with 500, a whole lot of other men for $20 too. So it's like I got gang raped in my home in Australia, and then when I went to the police about trafficked, they made me feel like I was a criminal for calling up. Like that I was making shit up. And I was like, well, who do you call then? If your police force are just kind of here to bully me, who do you call when I'm going through violence? Because I've got all these photos of the violence. So who do you call? If the police are trying to hold everybody hostage and I'm, the things that they're arresting me for and they're I just think there's about 8 of them or something that have got some sort of vengeance at me. The rest of them seem normal, but there's a group of them that really hate me or something, and they're just coming around holding me like hostage. As soon as they gang rape me, put me on a massive train, brainwashing everybody to talk about me like I'm junk quality, and then he's brainwashing everybody with a sex tape. It's like the whole time I was sitting in the bush writing about gender violence and why wear it, and then I wake up and I'm like a massive rape victim all over again. And then I get to Remuera and I realise they've actually mutilated my vagina. I've gone to the hospital about it. I just said, like, this isn't normal. And she goes, have you had children? I said, I don't have children. But it looks like I've had children. It looks like my stomach is completely, like, ruined. Like, it needs somebody to scan my intestines to tell me what's wrong with my house. Like, because there's a blockage in it. Somebody's ruined my intestines and now I can't have a normal life. And that's what makes me feel suicidal. So I can't just be like happy with my mum. These guys raped me all over Australia and I put up a website about it and they just are finding other reasons to keep me from having my information go out, and they've got all these chats banning me from having social respect. So I'm just like, if you're not going to let me live a life with respect, which is our human right, what's the point of life? Like, I can't govern my life, and I've got all the culture hate, which Reagan said he was going to help me with the culture put downs, which is all poppy. Like, God don't like ugly, like her and John putting me down. And I think they got a massive payout to like destroy me on the radio, that I was just a drunk root. And it's like, well, I'm not welcome. I've been executed in Auckland like twice now, and they don't get any investigation into this. Why have I got artwork like the sun is in my soul and I'm going through tyranny? Why would I do that 2 or 3 years ago? Or maybe it was even 4 years ago now. Why would I do that? And suddenly everybody's a sunshine queen. I mean, it's my soul.